The story of today's special guest will show us how much value IT brings to our lives. Đặng Hoài Phúc, born in Bà Rịa Vũng Tàu. The young boy Đặng Hoài Phúc loved discovering. One day, when he was 9, he was digging up an Ochna interferometry. When I was digging up an Ochna interferometry, a landmine left in wartime exploded and caused my blindness. I forget the inferiority complex because it doesn't solve any problems. After that, I went to school in Saigon and started to think about how to live independently. I simply found the only way was education, and I shouldn't do bad things. Then I worked for Chiang Mai Center since the day it was established. At that time, I worked as a computer teacher. The center aims to develop and apply IT in education and employment for the blind in Vietnam. From this turning point that one might think would ruin his future, and with his strong will and considerable support from IT, Đặng Hoài Phúc has built a bright and secure future for himself. This shows that IT is a powerful tool for all people to assist them in being fully included in a community, no matter who they are. Let's now join today's talk show to learn more about another side and another great benefit of IT that hasn't been recognized by many people. That's IT for the blind. The Journey to Light. Welcome to our show, Connecting Without Limits. Today is a very special show because our guest is not a businessman as usual. He works in IT, writes training materials and codes for the blind community. He is Đặng Hoài Phúc with 17 years of experience in IT for the blind. Thank you so much for joining us, Phúc. After 17 years of working for the blind community, have you ever thought that you have devoted enough time and energy to that work, and that it's time to do something for yourself or your family? Actually, I consider what I'm doing as a full-time job and not charity work. It's totally my work in a specific area of the IT industry. Instead of doing business and focusing on financial benefits, I invest my efforts in activities that promote education and employment opportunities for the blind. So do you think this is a career that you can contribute to and also live on? Yes. When you bring IT to the blind, do you think there is a much greater barrier between them and IT in comparison with other people? When you understand how assistive technology works for the blind, you will see that these barriers are overcome. For example, you as a sighted person would look at a computer screen to know what is happening, while the blind will listen. There are programs called screen readers. These programs read out loud what is happening when the blind person moves their mouse. The blind listen to it and control the computer. So, with training and appropriate assistive technology, there are almost no problems. How about the online environment? Now that we have social networks and mass media online, do we have any special supports for them? Yes, certainly. Most people use computer with a perfect vision, but the blind listen to the screen reader. We have Vietnamese speech engine to read documents and websites. My team at Chiang Mai Center has been developing this tool for years. Today, most Vietnamese blind people are using our speech engine on a Windows platform. With this tool, they can join social networks like Zalo, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. They can listen to music and can use the computer as a tool for employment. There are a lot of people creating jobs for themselves, buying or producing things, then running their own business online to earn money for themselves. Everything is possible.
mở những cái shop online ở trên những cái shop online các bạn để mà các bạn buôn bán ở trên đó thì tất cả cái đó các bạn đều hoàn toàn các bạn có thể làm được hết.
We can see that IT plays a very important role for the blind in particular, but also for other persons with disabilities. It helps them to live more confidently, independently, and happily, right? Yes. Then, do you have any conclusion to summarize what blind people need most in IT? I firmly believe that the blind and other people with disabilities really need IT products that are fully accessible. When companies create a product for the public market, they should carefully look at making products that are fully accessible. When they do this, their products can be used by many different types of people.
Cái sản phẩm của họ có thể là đến rất là nhiều người dùng khác nhau. Ví dụ
Otherwise, they can only sell the product to people without disabilities.
đưa đến những cái người sử dụng đó là không khuyết tật.
If they pay more attention to this matter of accessibility, it will broaden the base of potential customers. This provides both an economic value and social value, and those values will strengthen their brain.
Xã hội mang tính xã hội, giá trị về nhân văn, tất cả mọi yếu tố đó thì sẽ mang cái thương hiệu của họ đến rộng hơn.
I totally agree with you. Instead of creating products only meet the needs of the non-disabled people, we should be aware of the needs of all people. That way, the range of customers will be much broadened, and the humanitarian value of the product will also be highlighted.
Nó khẳng định thêm là cái tính nhân văn của sản phẩm đấy, của cái thương hiệu đấy, đúng không ạ?
I heard that many years ago, most universities didn't accept blind students because they thought the student could not follow the curriculum. I also understand that often disabled persons were refused service by many airlines. They thought that blind people could not move independently. Speaking of accessibility, as you said, these services should be more accessible. But do you think there should be laws or particular policies about this for each type of product? I would like to share with you and the audience a little bit about these problems of public services like universities, airlines, or banks that don't accept blind people.
Ngân hàng không cho những người khiếm thị để tiếp cận với những dịch vụ công của họ.
The problem not only lies in the accessibility of the products, but it's quite discriminatory.
Nhưng mà nó mang tính chất ở đây là nó mang tính chất về phân biệt đối xử.
When we operate a public service, there will be many types of people to use it.
Như vậy thì trong xã hội thì sẽ có nhiều đối tượng khác nhau, ví dụ như là có
Like people with visual impairment, older people, or pregnant women. So we should ensure that the service can be provided to all people.
cái dịch vụ công nó cung cấp cho tất cả mọi người.
If not, it mustn't be allowed to run.
Thì lúc đó nó sẽ dính líu
That depends largely on the government's policies. For example, in the USA and other European countries, if we want to sell a product like iPhone to people working in government,
ở trong cơ quan thuộc chính phủ Hoa Kỳ chẳng hạn như vậy.
we must make sure it reaches the standard that all of them can use it, not only non-disabled people. I hope that our government will soon have such policies to encourage companies to make their products usable by everyone.
Họ phải được sử dụng bởi tất cả mọi người, chứ không phải là chỉ riêng những người không khuyết tật.
As IT and other companies provide technology services, what should they be aware of to make the products and services usable by people with disabilities? In fact, many employers don't hire blind people because they still don't understand what the blind can do. Even the blind themselves are still too shy to get included. There are many reasons for the hesitation. In the past few years, the Chiang Mai Center has introduced a new strategy to be the bridge between the employers and the blind students. We are showing potential employers the skills and the real abilities of the client that can contribute to the company.
Làm sao để cho họ biết được những cái kỹ năng hay là những cái khả năng thực sự của những người khiếm thị có thể
We
đóng
want to
góp cho
demonstrate that this is a win-win situation, not one where one side gives and the other takes. This is not a charity or duty. We are not begging for sympathy either.
thương hại.
You mean shall my center support blind students in their education and employment?
Người mù sao mai của Phúc đấy thì hỗ trợ cho những người khiếm thị tìm việc này hay là trong các quá trình học tập. Thế thì
Can you be more
mình hỗ trợ
specific?
cái gì trong việc đấy? Mình
Because certainly there will be some differences between the skills and abilities and the requirements from the employers.
có thể là khớp được nhau vì là có những cái độ chênh về như Phúc nói đó, những kỹ năng rồi những cái trường hợp này trường hợp kia.
Then what do you do to support them?
Công việc của những anh em ở trong chỗ trung tâm Sao Mai
Our job is to find potential employers who are in need of high quality staff.
họ có nhu cầu họ cần tuyển dụng. Và
At first, we look for the suitable jobs that require the skills that the client have.
mà đa số các bạn khiếm thị đang có và làm việc rất là tốt. Thì mình sẽ tiếp cận
We then contact suitable employers to introduce potential resume of the blind students. We often have soft skill training courses at Xiao Mai Center for blind people or students with no experience.
về kỹ năng mềm cho các bạn khiếm thị hay là sinh viên ra trường.
Then there are also some specialized short-term training courses in areas such as telesales, telemarketing, etc.
Hay là bán hàng, telesale, hay là tiếp thị, vân vân qua điện thoại thì sẽ đào tạo cho các bạn những kỹ năng đó. Rồi xong sau đó thì
After they completed those necessary courses, we will provide their profiles to potential employers. The problem is that in developed countries with higher awareness, people give more care to people with disabilities.
Quan tâm nhiều hơn và chu đáo hơn với người khiếm thị.
However, in developing countries, maybe we need more time to raise the awareness gradually. I noticed that there have been some technological products for the aged, for example, but rarely hear about a product specially designed for the blind.
Sản phẩm mà chuyên hay là có những tính năng chuyên cho người khuyết tật hay là người khiếm thị.
thực chất á,
In fact, we don't need to create products just for the blind,
sản phẩm riêng cho người khiếm thị. Không có cần thiết
but
phải làm
products for all
nhưng mà hãy
people.
làm những cái sản phẩm cho mọi người. Có nghĩa là hãy tạo ra những cái sản phẩm cho tất cả mọi người. Ví dụ như ngày xưa
For example, Google once introduced a separate website with a search engine for people with visual impairment.
một cái trang web riêng để hỗ trợ cho những người khiếm thị hay là những người khuyết tật.
They added some special tools like magnifiers. It was just the same site, but they reduced the visual effects so that blind people could use it easily.
Ảnh hay giảm những hiệu ứng này kia vân vân bỏ đi. Thì nó sẽ đọc dễ hơn. Nhưng
But
mà
I didn't think it was a successful
cá
project.
nhân đối với tôi thì nó thật sự nó không thành công mà hình như là
Now
bây
there
giờ
are very
hình như
few
là
blind people using
rất
it.
là ít người sử dụng, gần như là không ai sử dụng. Họ vẫn
They
sử
just
dụng
use the same website as cited people do. So the important thing is in designing a website accessible for all
đó, có nghĩa
people.
là tiếp cận với cho mọi người, với cái đó mới là quan trọng. Thì luôn luôn là sẽ không cần phải tạo ra một cái gì
Và
riêng.
trong cái cho mọi
We
người
should add some special tools for special customer in just one product, right?
lớp khách hàng có đúng thế không ạ?
Đúng rồi. Có nghĩa là
Yes,
bản thân
then
cái sản
both
phẩm nó
people
chuyên
with
hóa
disabilities and others can use it.
những người không khuyết tật và
You
những người
suppose manufacturers have to be responsible for creating products that are suitable for the majority.
Vừa tiếp cận được cộng đồng rộng lớn. Số
They
đông,
also have to work by
vừa
themselves
có những tính
or
năng
cooperate
riêng
with other companies to add the special tools for people with special needs.
phục vụ cho một số cái lớp là khách hàng cá nhân. Nhưng như tôi
I would like to know if there are any foreign organizations to support the products and companies with modules or programs serving people with disabilities.
hay là những cái doanh nghiệp làm những cái module, những cái chương trình để phục vụ cho một số cộng đồng.
I've been working as a country coordinator for the International Council for Education of People with Visual Impairment, ICAVI, and over PROC Nippon Network on Educational Technology, ONNET, from the USA and Japan.
Mỹ và Nhật nó gọi là Overbrook Nippon. Thật ra thì thông qua cái quỹ
The Nippon Foundations has been very supportive of programs for the communities.
những cái sản phẩm mà mang tính là phục vụ cộng đồng, mang tính phục vụ xã hội. Thì nếu mà
If a product is going to be created for the community, it will surely be considered for support by them.
hỗ trợ kinh phí.
As for most products that are created, it's the manufacturer's responsibility to make sure it can be used by all people. Government policies are also crucial. There should be laws and policies with specific standards to promote products that are fully accessible.
cái luật để mà làm sao đó để những cái doanh nghiệp đó sản xuất những cái sản phẩm cho tất cả mọi người và sẽ ủng hộ cho những cái sản phẩm mang tính tiếp cận như vậy.
Thưa quý khán giả,
With 17 years of work within the field of IT for the blind community, Phúc was awarded the title Knight of Information Technology by Egypt magazine for his contributions.
với những gì anh đã làm và đóng góp. Còn với
How about us? Each of us can raise the awareness after hearing Phúc story.
và cũng như qua câu chuyện với anh Phúc, chúng ta mỗi người đóng góp
By doing our part to contribute to the community, anyone can take a little more care for the people with disabilities in general and blind people in particular. That wraps up our today's talk with Đặng Hoài Phúc.